Good morning, Michigan. A very pleasant Tuesday to you. Michael Patrick Shields all across the state of Michigan on Fox 47 television if you're in the Lansing area, on YouTube otherwise, or at MichiganTalkNetwork.com. Politics is our family business, Gary Austin, and we've got the chairman of the Republican Party, Ambassador Ron Weiser, on the other end of our line. Good morning to you, Ambassador Weiser.
Well, good morning to you. I heard the warm-up there, and if you can let the Republican Party how you send mail without a stamp, we'd be forever grateful.
I can never reveal the secrets. I'm sorry about that, but I'm sure that that you don't have the franking privileges you'd like to have in the heat of a campaign like this. However, the good news is we are hearing reports this morning that things are going very well for the Republicans this year. Even Governor Granholm on CNN and at the Democratic Unity Breakfast said it could be a rough year for the Democrats. Why do you think she's talking like that?
Well, all you have to do is look at the economy. You have to look at her approval ratings. You have to look at the direction the state is going, and we already know that when things are going in the wrong way, especially economically, people want change.
Well, they may get it, and they certainly may get it in the House, because Mears is reporting this morning that the question no longer is if House Democrats are going to lose seats. The question is how many will they lose, and will there be incumbents among the casualties? What does your math look like when you look at the State House through the general election?
Well, we have, it's pretty clear that the candidates that we had in the districts we won in 2008, which was a very rough year for us. We had our rough year, but these things are cyclical. It's pretty clear that we should be able to capture all or all but one or two of those back. So there's lots of open seats that have been traditionally Republican, and we're going to be going after them.
Gary Austin?
Well, Ron Weiser, first question here for the Democrats to shore things up, in your opinion. Let's say you're on their side. What are some of the things the Dems have to do to get back in touch with the electorate out there and say, hey, we're not that bad after all, you shouldn't kick us out?
Well, if they can pull some magic off and change the economy between now and November, then I think they have a darn good chance.
That's a pretty tall order, it sounds like. Yeah.
People are frightened about the future of Michigan, about their personal futures, about whether their children and grandchildren are going to have an opportunity to stay in the state. Those kinds of things don't go away, and it's pretty hard to overcome.
It seemed like the Democrats in Congress really thought that by the stimulus plan and spending a lot of money, that would really help fix the economy. However, it's not working out that way. Is there anything you think the Dems can do between now and Election Day to try to reverse that somehow and try to get in touch with the electorate out there and say, you know what, we gave it our best shot, you can't blame us?
Well, I have no doubt that they will blame it on George Bush and John Engler because they have nothing else to blame it on other than themselves. They forgot a very fundamental precept, which is that business creates jobs, not government. And they tried to do it the government way instead of providing the support and the incentive to businesses to begin to expand again. And as you know, you've been reading it in the papers, businesses are not yet even inclined to do that, even with all the stimulus having been spent.
What is the latest attempt by the so-called Tea Party to get candidates on the ballot here this fall?
Well, they're going through a process right now where they've got to go through the Board of Canvassers and get their petitions approved. I'm not sure exactly what state that's in. I mean, that is really one of the more despicable things that the Democrats have done. I mean, we're talking about trying to deceive the public into believing that there's another party out there that has viable candidates and not a bunch of Democrat opposites, which these candidates are turning out to be, who represent a third way. And that's unfair to the public.
So you contend this is an attempt by the Democrats to try to confuse the voters out there by putting candidates on the ballot. In other words, if you don't know any better and you're a Republican and you've got right-wing leanings, there you are in the polling place, and you're looking at your options to vote, and you see Tea Party, and you just register, Tea Party, that's conservative, I'll vote for that guy. You say that could really confuse things and in turn help the Democrats come election time?
That's exactly what their plan is, and they're executing it. And the Tea Party folks, and we're in touch with them because they attend our events, and We've invited him to be part of our process, to run for precinct delegate, because we share the same ideals and the same values. Those folks know that this is all fake. And when they had the first Board of Canvassers meeting, the whole room was full of Tea Party folks saying, hey, this is a fraud. But that being said, the average voter on the street doesn't know that, and they will go in, and if they're not real happy with either candidate, they may put in a protest vote, and more likely than not, unfortunately, that from our point of view, that's going to come from the Republican side.
But Ron, you say this is a fraud. That being the case, couldn't the Board of Canvassers, before they approve any of this, say, hold on a second, this is a fraud, we're not going to approve this, period?
Not really their place to do that, is it?
No, they don't have. They can only determine whether the petitions were done properly or not done properly. They weren't submitted as they are supposed to be, and usually are beforehand for approval by the Board of Canvassers. There may be some errors on it. There may be some errors in the way it was circulated. But this was a professional firm. Somebody paid between $250,000 and $300,000 to a professional firm to get 58,000 signatures.
Wow.
They only needed, by the way, 38,000. So they took no chances that they'd be successful. And typically those firms charge $3 to $4 a signature for gathering it, sometimes even more. And that's what this effort was. And the guy who is the chairman, or calls himself the chairman, certainly didn't have the resources to do that, and he didn't do any fundraising to do that. So the money came from either the unions or the Democrat Party, and unfortunately, the only thing we can do is to make every effort to make sure that the public knows that this is a fraudulent party.
Speaking of the Tea Party, do you know what's the latest in the 1st district there, the 1st congressional district, where the sort of Tea Party candidate, Dr. Dan Benishek, and State Senator Jason Allen have been deadlocked, trying to sort out who will be the Republican nominee to run against Gary McDowell for that seat now being vacated by Congressman Bart Stupak? What do you hear?
Well, they're going through canvassing now, and the last numbers that I saw showed Dr. Benishek ahead by about 13 votes. But there are more townships and cities and other areas, villages that have to be canvassed, and when that's done, we'll see whether this is close enough for a recount or not. But obviously, this is one of those elections that proves that every vote counts.
What does it mean that it turns out the people who are sort of analyzing the Republican primary votes show that Democrats broke for Rick Snyder, and that's sort of what pushed him over the top? What does that mean when you have Democrats crossing over to vote for Snyder?
Well, they see the futility of voting for either the candidates they had on the other side, because all they were going to get is more of the same. And so they decided to vote for somebody who came from outside Lansing, from the business world, who was really ready to make and do things in Lansing in a different way.
What are you hearing about potential running mates for Rick Snyder?
The same thing you are. Lots of names.
Are there any names that you've heard that I haven't? What are you? Who are the names that are popping up?
I have to tell you, I'm just not available.
Okay. You're not. You're busy. Okay.
Yeah.
The United States House of Representatives are going back today to vote on that jobs bill. Democrats say it's a crucial election year jobs bill, and Republicans are saying it's a gift to the teachers union and it's going to add to the deficit. Is that what you think too?
Well, it's a very tough thing. I mean, obviously, the help that would come to Michigan would be very valuable, and like free handouts are always nice, but there's always a price to pay for them. And when we start adding billions and billions of dollars on top of an already catastrophic deficit, I just don't see where the end is in sight for this. And it appears that the Democrat Congress in Washington believes that they can print as much money as they want. And we've seen over the years, over the decades, over the centuries, that those countries that start printing money end up with some horrific consequences. And hopefully we'll do something about it before this country is put in that position.
Okay, Mr. Ambassador, thank you very much for the time this morning. Travel safely. We'll talk again soon.
Always nice talking with you.
Thank you.
And let me know about that stamp thing.
Oh, it's a secret. Thank you very much. Republican Party Chair Ron Weiser.